now I can't stop cause I'm in the zone. Shorty, keep it coming, new boy, I'm grown. I don't play, no matter where I go or what I do. Oh yeah, I'm not trying to leave you, believe me. What I'm going through, it ain't easy. Ain't what I heard. You said you love me. About this house, I'm about to this house. I can't take that.
Girl, what we do and where we do.
You taught me how to be and act like a lady, to never let no. Yeah. In December, I remember I was wide open. No way, I'm not trying to leave you, believe me. What I'm going through, it ain't easy. I can't take that dish no more.
What if everything you thought you knew about Olivia, the bad girl of R&B, the first lady of G Unit, the one who sang the hook on Candy Shop, was a lie? Because here's the thing, Olivia didn't choose that image. It was handed to her, crafted, marketed, sold. She was supposed to be the next big thing, handpicked by Clive Davis, mentored by legends, and blessed with a voice that could stop you in your tracks. But somehow, her career became a cautionary tale, less about talent and more about being caught in the wrong narrative. And that's where this story gets messy. Because behind the scenes, Olivia wasn't just another artist trying to make it. She was the industry's pawn. Used, misunderstood, and ultimately discarded when she didn't fit the mold they wanted to force her into. From major label deals to reality television drama, this isn't just a story about music. It's about what happens when a system built on image and control meets an artist who refuses to play by its rules. So how did Olivia go from prodigy to punchline? And why is her story more relevant now than ever? Let's rewind the tape. Before the rumors, the drama, and the reality television edits, there was just Olivia. A shy but confident teenager from New York with a powerhouse voice and dreams bigger than the Bronx. At just 18, she walked into an audition and sang "His Eye is on the Sparrow" so soulfully that Clive Davis, the same man behind Whitney Houston and Alicia Keys, signed her on the spot. No hesitation. Think about that. Clive Davis doesn't just sign anyone, he builds legends. And in that moment, Olivia wasn't just another hopeful artist. She was it. Her debut single, Bizounce, dropped in 2001, and it hit like a warning shot. Raw, edgy, and nothing like the polished, love-struck ballads dominating R&B at the time. It peaked at number 15 on Billboard and made people pay attention. This wasn't the sweet girl next door. This was a woman who demanded to be heard, and she had the talent to back it up. But here's where it gets tricky. Instead of building on her natural voice and authenticity, the label had other plans. They didn't just want Olivia to be a star. They wanted her to play a role, a very specific, very calculated role. And the person she was being pitted against? None other than Alicia Keys. So here's the wild part. Olivia and Alicia Keys were signed to the same label, J Records, but instead of letting both artists grow in their own lanes, the label saw an opportunity to manufacture a rivalry. Alicia was marketed as the good girl, the piano-playing, classically trained soul siren with natural hair and a poetic vibe. Olivia? She was the bad girl. Edgy, rebellious, sexy. The anti-Alicia. But that image? It wasn't hers. It was assigned, a role she had to play whether she liked it or not. According to Olivia herself, she was told how to dress, how to act, how to sound. They wanted attitude, they wanted shock value, they wanted her to be the opposite of Alicia. And for a moment, it worked. She had a hit single. She stood out. But the cost? Her creative freedom. Because behind the scenes, she wasn't being developed as an artist. She was being boxed in. shaped into a persona that felt more like a gimmick than a career. And the minute the numbers didn't match the hype, the industry did what it always does to women who don't fit its mold. They moved on. When Olivia's debut album didn't explode the way the label expected, the industry didn't ask why. They didn't consider the forced branding or the creative chokehold. They just started playing musical chairs with her career. She was quietly pushed aside, shuffled between managers and labels, treated like a marketing experiment gone stale. And just like that, the teenage prodigy with Clive Davis cosigns was now struggling to find her place in an industry that never really gave her one to begin with. But then, just as things were falling apart, came a twist no one saw coming. Enter G-Unit. 50 Cent was on top of the world. He was fresh off the success of Get Rich or Die Tryin', running one of the most powerful hip-hop empires of the 2000s. And Olivia? She was brought in as a strategic move, not because her music aligned with G-Unit's gritty street aesthetic, but because 50 had a rival, Irv Gotti, and Irv had Ashanti. So what did 50 do? He brought in his own R&B weapon. Olivia became the first lady of G-Unit. On paper, it looked genius. In reality, it was a setup waiting to unravel. At first, it looked like Olivia had hit the jackpot. She landed on Candy Shop, a 50 Cent mega hit that went #1, went platinum, and blew up her visibility. Suddenly, Olivia was everywhere. In the videos, on the tours, on the radio. The First Lady of G-Unit title was stamped across every blog and magazine. But here's the problem. It was all surface. The industry saw her as a feature, not a force. Even as millions sang along to her voice on Candy Shop, the spotlight was never really hers. She wasn't being built up as a solo act. She was being used to soften G-Unit's image, a supporting character in someone else's story. And the fan base? Hardcore hip-hop heads. They didn't come to G-Unit for soulful R&B. They wanted bars, beef, and bravado. Olivia's smoother, more melodic style clashed hard with the brand. So when she dropped her own singles, like Best Friend and Twisted, they barely made a dent. Not because the music was bad, but because no one knew what to do with her. Not the audience, not the label, and not 50 Cent. And the crazy part? Behind the scenes, things were getting messier. While Olivia was smiling for cameras and hitting stages, behind the scenes, it was war. Tensions inside G-Unit were boiling. Olivia wanted to evolve. She started collaborating with artists like Missy Elliott, searching for her sound outside the hyper-masculine G-Unit mold. But reportedly, 50 Cent wasn't having it. That independence, that threatened the brand. Then came the real damage. Her second album, Behind Closed Doors, got shelved. Just vanished. No rollout, no support. Just another project lost in the vaults of label politics. And if you thought label drama was enough, enter The Game. During his fallout with 50, The Game went nuclear, firing shots at everyone in G-Unit, including Olivia. And his go-to rumor? He publicly claimed Olivia was a man. Yeah, that happened. It was baseless, cruel, and 100% meant to humiliate her. And while Olivia took the high road, the damage was done. Because in the music industry, perception is currency. And once the internet gets a hold of a lie like that, it sticks, no matter how ridiculous it is. But here's what people forget. While Olivia was dodging rumors and internal sabotage, she was also being silenced. G-Unit didn't know how to market her. The label's culture wasn't built for R&B, especially not a woman trying to break out on her own terms. She was being buried, quietly, strategically. So how does an artist fight back when even their own team won't back them? If Olivia's time at G-Unit felt like sabotage, her next chapter felt like betrayal. After leaving the label, she tried to take control. She teamed up with a new manager, Rich Dollaz, a name that would later become synonymous with love and hip-hop drama. But this wasn't just a business move. It was supposed to be a lifeline, a chance to finally reclaim her career. Instead, it turned into another disaster. First came the missed opportunities. Like the time Olivia passed on a Missy Elliott-produced track called Let It Go. She was in the studio, trying to rebrand and break away from the G-Unit sound. But for reasons that are still unclear, she didn't move forward with the song. That track eventually went to Keisha Cole and became a massive hit. Then came the deeper betrayal. Olivia released emotional, stripped-down R&B tracks like December and Walk Away. They weren't just good. They were raw, authentic, and showed exactly who she was without the industry filter. The fans loved them. But behind the scenes, she wasn't getting paid. Olivia later revealed that Rich Dollaz withheld her royalties, literally kept the money from her own music out of her hands. And when she confronted him on Love and Hip Hop, her voice cracked as she said, "You broke my heart." It wasn't just about business. It was personal. Because this wasn't the industry turning its back. It was someone she trusted. So how do you bounce back when even your second chance turns into a trap? By 2011, Olivia needed visibility. The music industry had chewed her up, spit her out, and kept moving. So when Love and Hip Hop came knocking, it felt like a chance to flip the script. And at first, it worked. Olivia was introduced as the seasoned R&B singer trying to revive her career, an underdog with real talent and real scars. She wasn't there to throw drinks or start feuds. She wanted to tell her story. And fans were here for it. Her honesty hit different. She opened up about label politics, missed chances, and the constant fight to be taken seriously as an artist. While other cast members leaned into chaos, Olivia brought something else: credibility. But here's the catch. Reality television doesn't reward restraint. Her manager, Rich Dollaz, pushed her to create drama, to cry, to fight, to perform. Not in the studio, on screen. And Olivia? She resisted. She didn't want to be another meme. She wanted to be a musician. That tension started eating away at her storyline. Yeah, she dropped music like December, which charted and reminded everyone she could still sing her face off. But the show's focus always pulled back to the mess. So while her profile was rising again, her artistry was getting buried all over again. By season 2, she saw the writing on the wall. This platform wasn't built to support her comeback. It was just another machine, one that wanted a spectacle more than a star. So she walked. But was it too late? After stepping away from Love and Hip Hop, Olivia was done playing by anyone else's rules. No more industry puppeteering, no more toxic managers, no more fitting into boxes she never asked for. For the first time in years, she was moving in silence and doing things her way. She went indie. She dropped singles like Where Do We Go From Here and Love Like This, featuring Tank, songs that actually sounded like Olivia. Grown, soulful, honest. No more chasing trends, just her voice, her vision, and no middlemen. But the reinvention didn't stop at music. Olivia pivoted into acting, landing roles in films like Supermodel and BET's The Family Business. It wasn't just a side hustle, it was a new chapter. Another way to tell stories on her own terms. And in 2020, she returned to Love and Hip Hop, New York for its 10th season, but this time, it wasn't about drama. It was about closure. She used the platform to promote her new music, Join Me, One More Chance, speak her truth, and address the fallout with Rich Dollaz on her terms. She wasn't the desperate artist fighting for relevance anymore. She was a woman who survived the storm and still had something to say. And let's be real, most people would have quit by now. But Olivia? She stayed. She evolved. She adapted. Because for her, this wasn't just about a comeback. It was about taking back the narrative the industry tried to write for her. Olivia's story isn't wrapped in a shiny bow. She didn't end up with Grammy wins or Billboard domination. There was no fairy tale comeback or record-breaking hit. But maybe that's what makes her story matter even more. Because in an industry obsessed with fame, filters, and manufactured moments, Olivia represents something rare: survival. She was signed by a legend, sabotaged by labels, sidelined by rap crews, and betrayed by people who were supposed to protect her. She was mocked, underestimated, and almost erased. Almost, because Olivia didn't disappear. She adapted, she rebuilt, she kept creating, not for clout, not for approval, but because the music was hers again. She never became the industry's idea of a superstar, but maybe that's the point. She carved her own lane, slowly, quietly, authentically, proving that staying true to yourself in a system built on lies is the biggest flex of all. And today, she's still writing, still acting, still inspiring artists who are tired of being told who to be. So yeah, maybe Olivia never got the crown, but she got something the industry couldn't take away: control. But it does make you wonder, how many careers never stood a chance because the industry already wrote the script for them?